Part 1. Terms and Conditions of Me. My name is Avery Collins, 29 years old. I write product roadmaps for a living and keep promises as a hobby. 6 months ago, my boyfriend Ben Hart moved into my place. 18 months together, and I thought we were quiet good, the kind of good that doesn't need an audience. Last Thursday, he asked me to meet at the kind of Italian place that decants water like it's vintage. He said he had something important to discuss. Promotions crossed my mind. A vacation, maybe? I wore the navy dress he likes because it looks like I mean business. He was already there, posture auditioning for responsible man. Between the candles sat a leather folder, precise, smug, waiting. We ordered. He folded his hands like a banker and slid the folder across. Before we take the next step, he said, we should align expectations. Inside was a laminated sheet. Laminated. The title, Requirements for Marriage. Areas where Avery needs improvement. I traced the shine with my eyes, as if the plastic could change the words. Income. Increased salary minimum 40% within 12 months. Current compensation inadequate for our lifestyle goals. Physical fitness. Join CrossFit specifically. Lose 15 palais, develop visible abs. Vehicle. Trade in current Honda Civic for marriage-appropriate vehicle, BMW, Audi, or Mercedes only. Wardrobe. Complete overhaul required. Pinterest board of approved looks attached. Social circle. Phase out friends, Cora, Micah, and Jonah. Negative influences on our future. Hobbies. Gaming limited to 2 hours/week. Golf lessons mandatory. Networking opportunity. Family boundaries. Visits to my mother reduced to holidays only. Career path. MBA commitment by next fall. Schools researched. Housing. Purchase home in specified neighborhood within 2 years. Minimum 3,500 skivs. Social media. Remove all photos with X's. Update status and feature Ben in profile picture. He sipped his Barolo like he'd just solved climate change. When I finished reading, he leaned forward. I've thought long and hard about this, he said. These are my non-negotiables. I need to know you're serious about our future. I looked at the list, then at him. The lamination threw a clean, hard reflection over his face, a mirror coating he mistook for conviction. This is really helpful, I said. His whole body exhaled. I knew you'd... I unlocked my phone, opened a notes, and typed one line. Find a new boyfriend. I turned the screen toward him. Set a 20 on the table for my drink. The fork chimed against my plate when I stood. He blinked, mouth half open, as if buffering. Avery, don't be. You're misreading the spirit. No, I said gently. I'm reading the words. I walked out into the kind of night that makes every streetlight look like a decision. At home, I opened the closet and pulled down the nesting dolls of luggage he'd insisted were an investment in our shared future. I packed methodically, 3 button-downs per fold, the watch winder he never used, the golf shoes he bought for the lessons I hadn't agreed to. I put his grooming kit on top, even the lip balm we argued about once because I said mint burns and he said pain means progress. I texted the landlord, explained we were done, asked politely if we could change the locks. He'd met Ben. He said yes. I stacked the boxes by the door and wrote in Sharpie, Ben, pick up by Sunday. Then I carried them to the building mailroom. Our super, who is allergic to drama and dust, nodded like I'd returned an overdue library book. My phone pulsed like a living thing. 15 missed calls, 3 voicemails from Ben, 1 from Richard, his father, 2 from Tara, his friend I barely knew, and a text from Carla, my manager. Everything okay? If you need tomorrow, take it. I opened the fridge. The little quiet inside greeted me. I poured water, sat at the kitchen island, and read the laminated list again. It gleamed like a contract no court would honor, but many egos would try to enforce. Somewhere between phase out friends and reduce visits to your mother, my chest settled into a flat, certain line. He wasn't improving me. He was replacing me with a version that looked good next to him. Friday, 9:07 a.m. The waiter from the restaurant, Marco, who knows my coffee order, DM'd me. He sat there for an hour after you left, Marco wrote, told the table next to him you were just processing and would be back once you realized how smart he was being. I almost laminated the check for him. I laughed into my mug. It sounded like air returning to a room. 10:31 a.m. Ben's text. Avery, you were emotional. The list is aspirational. Let's be adults and talk tonight. 10:32 a.m. Mine. Already did. Decision reached. Your boxes are in the mailroom. Pick up by Sunday. 10:40 a.m. He called. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. The voice of a man trying to sound calm while the script scatters. Babe, you're catastrophizing. Everyone optimizes for marriage. It's normal. Income trajectories, fitness, social alignment. This is how high-functioning couples level up. My dad can fix the salary thing. Don't be prideful. Prideful. The word slid across my counter and fell off the edge. 12:03 p.m. I took the laminated sheet to my desk and set it beside my keyboard and wrote an email to myself with the subject line, terms and conditions of me. Inside, a single bullet. I am not a project plan. I hit send. That evening, I left work through the side exit because I've learned what men do with doors when they're told no. I checked the lobby camera on my phone before I got home. Clear. Good. In the mailroom, someone had neatened Ben's boxes. A post-it in unfamiliar handwriting read, Sunday, no exceptions. Bless you, super. I showered with my shower curtain still intact. Put on the soft socks my mother buys in bulk. Texted Cora, Micah, and Jonah. Pizza, my place, bring stories. Jonah sent a skull emoji, honoring phase-out friends immediately. ETA 20. They arrived with greasy boxes and better jokes. We ate on the floor. At some point, Jonah noticed the laminated sheet on my counter. He whistled low. He laminated your personality. Micah leaned over it like an anthropologist. CrossFit specifically. The specificity is where the comedy lives. Cora took a photo and made a face. Do we frame it or burn it? Neither, I said, sliding it back into the folder. We file it. Evidence tends to try and forget itself. They stayed until the city softened. When they left, I stood at the window and watched someone walk a dog that looked like Hope. My mother called. Are you okay, baby? I'm okay, I said. He gave me a list for becoming the woman he could love. I gave him a list for becoming the man I won't date. She was quiet a moment. I could hear her smile. I raised you to recognize a bargain that cost your soul. Consider it recognized. We said goodnight. I turned off the kitchen light, and the apartment rearranged itself into a calmer shape. On the counter, the leather folder sat like a polished threat. I slid it into a banker's box labeled Documents. As I closed the lid, I caught my reflection in the microwave door. Hair damp, eyes steady, a woman who had edited herself for the last time. At midnight, a final text lit the room. You'll regret this. No one else will put up with you. I typed. Then I'm finally in good company. I slept. The city hummed. Somewhere a laminator cooled in the dark. Part 2. The correction plan. Saturday morning sunlight spilled across my counter like an apology I didn't need. I brewed coffee, opened my laptop, and saw the first email subject line. From Richard Hart, business proposal. Ben's father. The man had shaken my hand exactly 5 times in 18 months, always with the firm grip of someone evaluating a potential hire. I clicked it open. Avery, I understand emotions ran high at dinner. Ben's intentions were admirable, if poorly executed. I can resolve at least one of the items on his list. We have a junior project management opening at my firm with a salary increase matching his proposal. If you reconsider this break and attend counseling, I'll arrange the offer immediately. Richard Hart. He'd CC'd Ben. A line beneath it read, I've already solved the income issue. My thumb hovered over delete, but I didn't. I forwarded it to myself. Subject, documentation number 2, the family expansion pack. 11:42 a.m. Buzzing at the door. Through the peephole, Ben, flanked by Helen, his mother in pearls, and Tara, his so-called friend, who looked uncomfortable holding a folder. They were holding boxes. Not the ones I packed, new ones. I cracked the door an inch. Mailroom's that way. Ben smiled, the kind that doesn't touch the eyes. We just want to talk. We? I repeated. Helen stepped forward. Sweetheart, this is getting out of hand. Ben's only trying to make your relationship stronger. We women dream of a man with a plan. I prefer a man with respect, I said. Ben exhaled through his nose. You're making this dramatic. Tara opened the folder. Inside was a color-coded printout labeled, Avery's Potential Growth Plan, Revised. CrossFit was now highlighted in neon orange. Under family boundaries, someone had scrawled, Mother, toxic attachment. I looked up slowly. You held a meeting. Ben straightened. Therapeutic intervention. We just want to help you understand. Stop saying we. My voice surprised even me. Steady, low, surgical. No one asked for your committee. Helen clutched her pearls like a stage cue. He's doing this because he loves you. Then he should try listening instead of laminating, I said. For a moment, only the hum of the fridge filled the air. Tara muttered, maybe we should, but Ben raised a hand. Fine, he said, suddenly cold. But when you're 40 and alone, don't blame me. I'll be too busy doing Pilates, I said, and closed the door. The click was small, final, delicious. Sunday afternoon brought the encore. A call from my mother. Baby, I just need you to explain something. Her voice had that trembling politeness reserved for disasters. Explain what? Benjamin and Dr. Whitman are in my living room. I nearly dropped my mug. What? They said it's an emergency family therapy session. He hired the doctor. She paused. Honey, should I offer them tea? No, lock the front door and tell them the emergency is their judgment. Later, she called back laughing. The therapist left, said, this is wildly inappropriate. Then Ben told me, I was the reason you lack ambition. I told him, ambition without empathy makes for a lonely marriage. He didn't take it well. I exhaled a laugh. I owe you dinner. Monday morning at the office, my manager Carla stopped by my cubicle. You've got a visitor downstairs, she said. My stomach tightened. Brown hair, arrogant posture, strong PowerPoint energy? Exactly. Security's already handling it. She smirked. He brought a laptop labeled Avery's transformation plan. I couldn't make that up. I caught the security feed on my phone. Ben in the lobby, gesturing to a slide that said, Embracing Constructive Criticism, the Path to Long-Term Partnership. Security escorted him out mid-sentence. I saved a screenshot. Documentation number 3. By Wednesday, his persistence evolved into emails titled Next Steps, Healing Journey, Reconciliation Sprint. I didn't reply. Thursday night, I received another message, this one from Richard Hart again. Subject, business plus personal follow-up. The body read, Ben tells me you've ignored his efforts. I urge you to reconsider before you throw away a man with vision. In marriage, compromise is key. You have potential. He simply wants you to reach it. Potential. There it was again, the corporate rebrand of You're Not Enough. I stared at the word until it blurred. Then I closed my laptop, grabbed my jacket, and walked to the 24-hour store for cereal I didn't need and fresh air I did. Friday morning, knock on the door. Not Ben this time, but Tara and 3 hired movers. Hi, she chirped, forced cheerful. We're here for Ben's things. His things are gone. She handed me a printed list. It included my television, my gaming console, my coffee maker, my grandmother's china set, with the note, basically ours since I used it more. I smiled slowly. Let's have security weigh in. Downstairs, the super took one look and rolled his eyes. Ma'am, this is theft. The movers froze. One whispered, she said you were abusive, but you seem normal. She lies with the confidence of an insurance commercial, I said. Take only what's his. They obeyed. When Tara tried to argue emotional compensation, even she didn't sound convinced. They left empty-handed. I walked back upstairs and wrote on the corner of Ben's old list, Entitlement, Bullet 11. Saturday evening, another message arrived. Short, venomous. You'll regret this. You're wasting your potential. I'm offering you structure. You're choosing chaos. I typed back. I'm choosing myself. Structure doesn't mean safety when it's a cage. Then I muted his number. Sunday was supposed to be the pickup deadline. He didn't show. Instead, he posted on LinkedIn. Benjamin Hart, life coach, relationship consultant, building stronger women through accountability. Article, When You Outgrow Your Partner, A Guide to Upward Dating. The first paragraph. Sometimes love means challenging mediocrity. Not everyone can handle the elevation. He hadn't used my name, but the subtext screamed. Within hours, someone in a relationship advice forum found my earlier post. Screenshots collided and the comments exploded. She dodged a bullet. He made a laminated list? Bro, you're the mediocrity. CrossFit specifically? Nah. He deleted the article in under 2 hours. Screenshots, of course, lived forever. That night, my phone buzzed one last time, from his sister Megan. He's spiraling. Sorry you're dealing with this. He's done this before. Please keep receipts. I stared at the message, feeling the strange mixture of relief and sadness that comes when truth finally backs you up. Receipts are my new love language, I replied. She sent a heart. Smart girl. Later, as rain began to patter the window, I made tea and looked at the empty space where his golf clubs had stood. My reflection shimmered on the glass, tired but lighter. Freedom doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just sighs. I thought of the therapist, the PowerPoint, the LinkedIn self-rebrand. He'd spent months trying to project manage love. And me? I'd finally deleted the shared calendar. Part 3. Outgrowing me. Monday morning arrived with a false calm. The city was washed clean from last night's rain, but my inbox wasn't. A new subject line blinked. Formal complaint. Illegal eviction and theft. I read it twice before laughing out loud. Apparently, Benjamin had filed a complaint with my apartment complex claiming unlawful removal of personal property and spiritual tenancy. Under duration of residency, he'd written, 18 months physical, 12 months emotional. Even my building manager, Deb, couldn't hold a straight face when she called. Honey, she said, I've seen nonsense before, but this deserves an award. She showed me a scan of the form. In the section marked Desired Resolution, he had scribbled, Reinstatement of shared domestic arrangement or fair compensation for emotional equity. Emotional equity, I repeated, nearly choking on my coffee. Do you want me to frame this? Deb asked. Please do, I said. Evidence files getting colorful. Wednesday, I was at the gym, my regular one, not CrossFit, when a shadow fell across the mirror. I looked up to see Richard Hart in a brand new tracksuit, price tag still dangling from the sleeve. Avery, he boomed, too friendly. Fancy meeting you here. I blinked. Richard, you've been parked outside for an hour. His smile twitched. Nonsense. Coincidence. He cornered me near the water fountain like a salesman pitching salvation. Listen, he said, my son comes from a good family. We raise our kids to expect excellence. Maybe his approach was blunt, but he means well. He graded me like a mid-year review, I said. Richard nodded solemnly, as if that were admirable. He sees potential. He sees a project, I corrected. He leaned closer. Look, I'll buy you the BMW myself. Consider it an early wedding gift. I laughed so hard I had to grab the treadmill for balance. Richard, I don't want a BMW. I like my Civic. His face reddened. You're throwing away a future over pride? No, I said. Over peace. He muttered something about ungrateful modern women and stormed out, leaving his fancy gym bag behind. Later, a janitor handed it to me. Inside, unopened pre-workout powder and a receipt for image consultation, $800. I shook my head. The whole family treated people like projects. Friday night, quiet, too quiet. Until my coworker Mika called, voice trembling with suppressed laughter. Girl, you need to check your Hinge profile. I don't have Hinge. You do now. She sent a screenshot. My photos, professional headshot, beach trip, even one of me and my dog, plastered on a dating profile that read, Successful professional seeking ambitious man to build an empire, MBA candidate, CrossFit enthusiast, future homeowner, no time for mediocrity. It was me, rewritten by Benjamin. Over the next hour, the situation escalated into absurdity. 3 different women showed up at my apartment that weekend, all confused, all polite. The first, Janet A., arrived Saturday evening in a red dress, holding flowers. Hi, she said, smiling uncertainly. Avery? Yes. I think we have a date? It took 5 minutes to unravel. Benjamin had been catfishing as me, using my photos, setting up ambitious partnership interviews. Janet showed me the messages. 3 days of flattery laced with buzzwords like synergy and power couple. I invited her in, poured wine, and told her the truth. She listened, wide-eyed, then laughed so hard she cried. You're kidding. He actually said synergy? Verbatim. She sipped her wine. You need a lawyer. Already have one. Well, she said, standing, when he's finally out of your life, call me. You seem like someone who deserves a better plot twist. She left her number on a napkin. I pinned it to my fridge like a trophy. Sunday morning. Another envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside, a printed invoice, itemized in nauseating detail. Benjamin Hart, its invoice for services rendered. Relationship coaching and life improvement consulting. 18 months at $200 AHR, equal $3,600. Personal styling assistance, $1,200. Career counseling, MBA research, $500. Meal planning and nutrition guidance, $900. Social circle optimization, $400. Interior design consultation, $1,500. Future planning and goal setting, $643. Total due, $8,743. Payment due within 30 days. Failure to pay may result in legal action. I called my mother before I even finished reading. "Mom," I said, "you're not going to believe this." She was quiet for 2 beats, then burst out laughing. "Sweetheart, send me a copy. I'll frame it." Later that evening, she left Benjamin a voicemail. "Benjamin, if you send me any more of your nonsense, I'll be billing you for the time I waste reading it. My rate is $300 an hour, 4-hour minimum. You're already in debt." I nearly choked on my tea. But the universe wasn't done yet. That night, I received a message request on Instagram from Megan Hart, his sister. "Hey, Avery, this is random, but I owe you an apology. Ben's done this before. Different woman, same pattern, lists, control, fake profiles. The last girl got a restraining order. I tried to warn him. I'm sorry you had to deal with it." She attached screenshots, old text threads between Ben and his ex. The same bullet points, the same laminated requirements. Only the names had changed. I sat there staring at the proof and felt something strange, almost pity. Control had been his only language. He didn't know any other way to feel loved. Still, I replied, "Thank you, Megan. I'll keep documenting everything." "Good," she wrote. "He escalates before he implodes. Stay safe." I filed her message under Evidence Net 12 and exhaled. Outside, thunder cracked like punctuation on the whole absurd chapter. Monday morning, my lawyer, Kara, my cousin's friend, called, voice bright with disbelief. "You're officially the most fascinating case I've had all month," she said. "We're sending a cease and desist today." "Perfect," I said. She hesitated. "Just out of curiosity, how do you want to handle the invoice?" "Frame it," I said. "It's art." She laughed. "I'll keep you updated." After I hung up, I sat by the window, watching clouds smear over the skyline. For the first time in weeks, my apartment felt like it belonged entirely to me again. No lists, no rules, no performance review. Just quiet, imperfect human peace. Then my phone buzzed one last time. From Ben. "You think you've won, but people don't leave me. They learn from me." I smiled. "Consider me graduated." I hit block. That night, my friends came over for pizza again. We toasted to emotional equity and spiritual tenancy. Jonah said, "Every time he tries something new, we take a shot." Micah laughed. "Girl, we're going to need a bigger bottle." We did. Part 4, Final Boss Mode. By the time Tuesday came, the cease and desist letter had been sent. I thought foolishly that this was the end, that paperwork would quiet him where reason couldn't. I was wrong. Wednesday morning, my lawyer Kara called, her voice a mix of laughter and disbelief. "You're not going to believe what just landed in my inbox," she said. "Try me." A counter letter from his lawyer. She started reading. "My client, Mr. Benjamin Hart, asserts breach of implied contract to improve himself, requests compensation for emotional labor and loss of future lifestyle, and a public apology for defamation of character." I closed my eyes. "He's suing me for not upgrading?" "Essentially, yes," Kara said. "He's demanding restitution for the BMW that never was." Silence. Then we both laughed so hard we couldn't breathe. When she finally caught her breath, she said, "In 15 years of law, I've never seen anyone try to monetize delusion." 2 days later, Ben evolved again, this time digitally. I opened TikTok during lunch, and there he was, his face hidden behind one of those voice filter animations. The title, Dating Down, My Story. Over melancholy piano music, his distorted voice began, "I tried to help someone become their best self, but some women fear growth. They call it control because accountability feels like criticism." In the next clip, he listed red flags that sounded suspiciously familiar. Doesn't like feedback. Wastes potential. Refuses constructive plans. The comments section was a bloodbath. "Bro, she dodged a PowerPoint. CrossFit specifically? He laminated a list, didn't he?" Someone even posted a meme of a laminator with the caption, "Ben's emotional support appliance." By video 3, the internet had already sleuthed out his name. Within hours, the series vanished. But not before 10,000 people had shared it with captions like, "I can't believe she dated this dude." A week later, I was finally breathing again, until my cousin Lucas called. "You're not going to like this," he said. "What now?" "Your ex just RSVP'd to my wedding." "He what?" He filled out the online form, selected the salmon entree, and wrote, "Can't wait to celebrate our love story." My pulse spiked. "Lucas, delete him from the list." "Already did," he said. But he messaged the venue directly, said he was reclaiming his closure. The wedding day. It was a bright Saturday, all pastel suits and soft laughter. I'd almost forgotten to be anxious, until I saw him. Standing near the champagne bar, hair slicked back, pale suit, holding a gift bag. A white dress shirt, symbolic, tone deaf. He wasn't invited. He wasn't wanted. But there he was. Lucas's wife, Camilla, froze mid-photo. Please tell me that's not... It is, I said. Before security could reach him, Ben was already talking to guests. She and I were supposed to be next, he said. It's poetic, really. Then, as if the universe couldn't resist chaos, the DJ called for speeches, and Ben, God help him, walked up to the mic. He tapped it twice. Love is about pushing each other to grow. That was as far as he got before Marco, my cop cousin, unplugged the mic. The crowd fell silent. Then whispers swelled. Is that Avery's ex? The list guy? Lucas stormed over. Get him out. Ben tried to pull away, shouting, This should have been our day. Camilla, radiant and unamused, said, Honey, not in that suit. As security led him out, he yelled over his shoulder, You'll regret losing me. I called after him, calm as glass. I regret buying you a laminator. Laughter broke through the room like sunlight after a storm. The restraining order was granted 3 days later. The judge flipped through the documents, the laminated list, the fake profiles, the invoice to my mother, and sighed like a man too tired for fiction. Ms. Collins, he said, you've been exceedingly patient. Then, turning to Ben, Mr. Hart, sending an itemized bill for dating someone is not normal behavior. Order granted, 500 feet, 2 years, no contact. Ben tried to argue, she's misrepresenting my intentions. The judge didn't even look up. Sir, your intentions are laminated, dismissed. A week later, Richard Hart called me. His tone was small. Avery, I had no idea about all this. He told us you two were still seeing each other. It's fine, I said, and you don't owe me anything. He exhaled shakily. I'm sorry. We didn't raise him to be like this. I believed him. The truth is, control doesn't always come from malice. Sometimes it's just the only structure someone knows. Later, Megan texted me again. He's finally in therapy. Real therapy this time. Mom and Dad made him go. I think this might actually stick. Good, I wrote. Maybe one day he'll make a list that starts with himself. A month passed, then 2. I stopped checking the mail for surprises. I stopped waiting for chaos. Janet, the woman from the fake date, reappeared. She showed up at trivia night with Cora and Mika, smiling. I heard you're still alive and list-free, she teased. I laughed. Barely, but thriving. Now, she's part of our group, sharp, funny, and undefeated at Mario Kart. When my mom met her, she whispered, that one's got common sense. We all laughed until we cried. My Civic still sits in the same parking spot, paid off, practical, and gloriously un-BMW. On the bumper, there's a new sticker Jonah gave me, mediocre and proud. Inside my boxing gym, my trainer taped Ben's laminated list to the wall, big red X through it. They call it the motivation corner. Sometimes when I'm wrapping my hands, new members ask, what's that? I smile. A reminder that self-worth isn't a checklist. A few weeks ago, Kara emailed me the final court confirmation. Attached at the bottom was a quote she'd added just for me. Love is not a performance review. I keep that one on my fridge now, right next to Janet's napkin with her number. When people ask how it all ended, I tell them the truth. He tried to manage me like a project, and I closed the contract. And when the light hits my kitchen table just right, I swear I can still see the faint outline of that laminated list. Not as a warning anymore, but as proof. Proof that I walked away. Proof that peace, once you choose it, doesn't need permission. He wanted perfection. I wanted partnership. Turns out peace is the only non-negotiable that matters.